This is Dr. Ravi. You work at the intersection of the economy and healthcare. I was talking to a few of the country's top businessmen just this morning, and the sense that I picked up is there is still some hesitancy, there is still some lack of clarity about what lies beyond Omicron. Will this be where this pandemic ends? Could it continue? Do you think this hesitancy or the lack of clarity, this unknown remaining in the horizon, hold back the investment that Pranjal says is very critical to drive the growth story going forward?
So Rahul, I don't just study the economy and healthcare. Frankly, I think we have to get the focus back on the real economy. I think we get so obsessed about the governments, and I think governments also gets obsessed about balancing its own budget, that we forget that the central role of a government is to really come up with policies so as we can move towards fuller employment, so that we don't have idle resources. And currently, at least on the economic survey, and again, I'm yet to look at it in greater detail, but I think we have to be a little more serious about job creation. The trends that Pranjal is talking about and Neelkant also mentioned. See, we can talk about short-term trends, but the longer we know, for a decade now, private investments have not picked up, which means, and in the immediate short run, we have seen consumption fall overall. Our dependence on government expenditure to really pull us out is very high. And that was showcased rather clearly. Last year's strategy that Nirmala Sitharaman laid out was a rather clear one. If we're going to spend ourselves out of this slowdown and spend on quality infrastructure investments, etc. But that, the link between, and you've seen capital expenditure in the last year actually rise significantly, and that's a good thing, and it needs to be highlighted. But what is the strategy for job creation? I'm yet to, frankly, see a strategy, and I think that becomes the larger issue. You see, Omicron, despite, of course, it's not as dangerous. Now, one future variance is something we have to be prepared for, but it's very clear that there is greater certainty now as far as the pandemic is concerned. So managing uncertainty remains the government's central job, and I think they've done a fantastic job as far as vaccination rollout, as far as just managing healthcare infrastructure and readiness with testing, etc. So I think the pandemic is less of a concern to me now. To me, the larger concern is this long-term structural, what is the long-term growth strategy that we are going to see unveiled tomorrow? And I hope it is one of, moving around the jobs and the investment cycle.
Sourav, you spend a lot of time every day talking to the leading lights of India Inc. What's your sense of the overall mood in corporate India on the issue of certainty versus uncertainty, the pandemic ending? Is it really, should we just hold on for a while? Because a lot of the job creation aspects that we've spoken about really depend on whether the private sector growth engine kicks into gear and they start firing as well, in addition to the dependence on government expenditure.
Well, Rahul, I can just, to answer your question in just a simple way, I think the business today index, business confidence index, if you remember, was at a 10-quarter high in the quarter ended September last year. That, in the latest one, which we've just put out recently, is actually gone down significantly, which is a barometer of how corner rooms are looking at the future. Now, that will obviously impact private sector investments, and that's how corporate sector will be looking at waiting and watching before something, before committing investments into the market. Now, the point here is last year and the year before, we were talking about, the various waves of COVID and the uncertainty around that. But I tend to agree with Udayan and Dr. Ravi. I think we need to look beyond that and beyond COVID now. We've somewhere as the corporate sector figured out, or as the economy figured out, how to deal with COVID. But the question here is inflation. The question here is the global uncertainty and the whole gamut of uncertainties which are coming from abroad. That is another question which nobody has clear answers to. So I'm afraid I really can't go with this bullish, 8 to 8.5, sort of figure which the government is putting out at this point. My sense is it will be a little lower.
Okay, let's